My name is Anna, and this is my husband Leif Erik. He came up with this idea to build a simple catamaran, put it in a container and send it from ice-cold Norway to Tahiti in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. This way we could start sailing in paradise. I said, what a crazy idea. Let's do it. This is the adventure of building and sailing BareBare. And the story starts when finally coming back after 3 years of the pandemic. It was a calm and beautiful morning when Daniel texted, "I'll pick you up for coffee." So he didn't really ask, "Do you want to come for coffee?" He sort of like, it was a command, "I'll pick you up for coffee." But it was a nice command. We really wanted some hot coffee. Our propane stove was still not working, and we were still drinking our 27 degrees Celsius instant coffee in the morning and during the day. So we really wanted a hot coffee. So Daniel came and picked us up, and immediately driving super quickly towards his houseboat. And Anna and I was looking at each other and said, why always in this hurry? Everyone is driving their dinghies so quickly in this beautiful area. We would row our dinghy as slow as we could. On the way towards his houseboat, the water was getting shallower, and the sand was like shiny white, really beautiful. The color changed from like more blue greenish in the area we had BareBare, and to more completely like turquoise close to the houseboat. And Daniel's houseboat is not really a boat. It looks more like a straw house on sort of like a raft, and it had a big area outside with a huge table, comfortable chairs, big kitchen with all kind of herbs and things, and tea and coffee and everything. And on the side of the walls, it was glued lots of white shells. It was a very beautiful place to hang out. And we could already smell the fresh brewed coffee on the table. It was I think maybe Daniel's sort of typical, or maybe French typical breakfast. It was Madeleine cakes in like a big bag, so we could have cakes, we could have the coffee, and it was also mangoes and pamplemousse in a big bowl. So it was really nice. Since we were still having problem charging our phones, we immediately when we came somewhere where we could do it, we would do it. So I took both my 2 iPhones, and Anna took also hers. So we just used all the electrical outlets we could find. And my cord was rather short, so I was standing in the kitchen area with my coffee. Daniel picked up his phone and started talking to the phone very quickly. And immediately a voice, which was a female voice, would talk back to us in Norwegian in a sort of like a staccato and with a rather strange sort of translation. So he was using Google Translate. I was standing behind Daniel and thought I wanted to try as well. So I picked up Google Translate and checked where was I doing all this and started talking. I was talking a bit slow and hesitated because this was a new way for me to do it like that. I have used Google Translate, but not the actual talking part of it. So I was hesitating. And because I was hesitating, Google Translate would start translating very quickly. Again, we did it from French to, not from French, from Norwegian to French. And now Daniel started laughing like mad, because it made some sense, but part of it made absolutely no sense in French. And he said, "Sounds like you are on constant drugs." And we were laughing. I was thinking about one of my relatives said, and she lives in France, and she says, translating, Google is doing a much better job if you do it in English. So I went for I asked Danielle, shall we do English, French, French, English instead? And we decided to change. Yeah, but
Et les yeux bleus, c'est toujours bien.
Mais au milieu d'un lagon, mais le milieu du lagon, finalement, c'est dans nos yeux.
Put in the middle of the swelling, we put the middle of the lagoon. Finally, it is in our eyes.
it is.
It's my fun.
Yes.
I like
And
it.
you do it, and
I like.
you do that, I do that.
Ouais.
You sit
Ouais.
there, I stand here, and we talk.
Voilà,
Not eyes to eyes.
Si tu veux draguer une femme, c'est super difficile. Tu dois t'y prendre à plusieurs fois et donc ça te prend énormément de temps.
If you want to flirt with a woman, it's super difficult. You have to do it several times, so it takes a lot of time.
Mais je pense qu'après peut-être une dizaine de bières, nous arriverons à se comprendre bien mieux que ça encore.
And it did make a bit more sense, but he still laughed a lot, and we still laughed a
La
lot.
capacité de pouvoir le gréer pour pouvoir faire de la navigation dans ce grand bleu turquoise, à observer les raies mentales, les raies pastonnales.
Course have the ability to power the sandstone to be able to navigate in this gray turquoise blue to observe the manta rays, the stingrays.
Yes, beautiful. And a few days later, again, Daniel texted and asked if I wanted to go to town on his scooter, and he would pick me up, or I mean, maybe again, a sort of command, I'm not really sure. Anyway, I really wanted to go to town, and I really wanted to go to town on the scooter. So he picked me up, and I thought he had his scooter, you know, just by the beach, but it turned out it was like 4 kilometers walk to pick up his scooter. So we started walking, and because I didn't think we would walk very much, you know, I would bring my pink and now very, very dirty flip-flops. So I was almost like running next to Daniel, who had his really good sneakers. He was, you know, this was his weekly exercise, I think, and I had to run next to him. And on the same time, we were communicating with Google Translate, realizing how much in love Danielle was with Google. We had already baptized her, or I had baptized her, Mrs. Google Translate, and Danielle would call her my wife.
Yeah, good Google Translate.
My wife, Google, my
Oh,
wife.
that's your wife.
And he was very happy using his wife all the time. So we kept walking, we kept talking, discussing things, and all of a sudden, really funny, because then internet didn't work in a part of the road, and we didn't have his wife to help us out anymore. But somehow we still managed to communicate.
Let's see. For yourself.
We finally made it to Danielle's scooter, and I had a really nice ride going all the way to Fare, the 20 kilometers, stopping a few times on the way because of course he always had some little errands here and there, but we made it. And Danielle was going to his dentist, and I was supposed to call him like an hour later. So I called him about an hour later, but by then Daniel had turned out that he had an appointment on his boat. So he had just taken his scooter and just gone back. So what was I to do? Well, that's another story for me to tell you. In the end of June, we brought all the plywood pieces and the 200 liters barrel of epoxy to Fredrikstad to my brother Anita's place. They lived in a small place called Langøya, which translates to Long Island in English. So we call it the summer camp of Long Island. And July 1st, we were ready to start, and we were going to work together all July. At least that was the plan. We took parts from our traditional boat Dvina's winter house and made a big house for us to build one hull inside. The weather summertime in Norway can vary a lot. from very hot to rather cold with rain and wind. We had no idea what to expect. So we built the house nice and sturdy. Our plan was to build one hull at a time, but we rather quickly decided it was better to build them both. We could work on one hull and then move to the other one. Or with enough people work on both hulls at the same time. We bought a huge party tent for the second hull. I suppose you have seen films of weddings when it starts blowing and raining and the party tent does not behave very good. I will tell you more about that later. We started cutting and laying out the keels and glued the pieces together. And after sanding and lining it all up, we started building the lower part of the hulls upside down. And building upside down was smart. It was a much more comfortable working position for all of us. The bulkheads were placed under the keel and the stringers would hold it all together. We mounted the pre-cut plywood and coated it with fiberglass cloth. We organized all the parts the best we could, and I was very strict if anyone moved anything around without my permission. You know, with two hulls, it was important to keep things in order so everything would end up the correct place, you know, like starboard side of starboard hull or starboard side of port hull, or where does this piece belong? It was very easy to mess it all up. My brother Aslak got distracted from the building and started a completely different project, which might not seem what we needed at the moment. But with people working voluntarily, you know, things easily move in a different direction. Aslak used to handprint wallpaper for museums and very rich people, and he thought that getting wallpaper on BareBare's bulkheads or walls was a very important task. So he started drawing a new wallpaper design, and why not? And I must add, you know, it's not very common to use wallpaper on a boat, but nothing about this project was normal. And if you would like a customized wallpaper for your boat or for your tiny house or for your house, we might be able to help you out. Thank you for watching my stories. If you like what you have seen, I can make more videos. But to be able to do that, I need a little help. To keep the videos coming, you can support me by subscribing, by hitting the like button and the notification bell. It takes a lot of work and effort to make these videos, and if you want to help me a little extra, please check out my Patron. Thanks to all my supporters.